Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. It is raining in Swindon town. In a stirring turn of events, today I'm going to talk to you about my career working at the graveyard shift at Steak and Shake, um, and how it introduced me to certain ideas that have stuck with me. But let's look at Bald John Green's beautiful mustache as he introduces himself to the boys of Barnsley, who today will feel the mighty wrath of Swindon Town. We've got John Green and John Green up front. We've got Leroy Williamson, who scores occasionally in the midfield, and along with French the Lana today. And in the back, of course, who just made the tackle. One size fits all. This guy who's on the ball right now, you guys are calling him Sir Cuthbert. That's his nickname, but his full name is Swindon Town Swoodly Pooper Cuthbert. Ball John Green, not a finisher. What is up with Ball John Green lately? I mean, that's a ball that he finishes 10 times out of 10 before his injury. Disappointing. Oh boy. Nope, not going to happen. So I worked one summer at Steak and Shake, which is for those of you who have never been to a Steak and Shake, it's a restaurant chain primarily in the Midwest that sells steak burgers, which are exactly like hamburgers, only with a different name, and milkshakes and other things. It's kind of an old-fashioned diner feel, but they have you have waiters and everything, and I was a waiter. I worked from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., although usually the hours are a little longer than that with side work, and it was really instructive experience, and I encourage, I think everyone should wait tables at one point in their life, or at least work in the restaurant business or some kind of service industry, because you learn a lot about people and human nature, and you also learn a lot from your coworkers. So I worked with two people primarily. One, there weren't a lot of people who visited Steak and Shake, at 3:30 in the morning. So we kept a skeleton staff. First, I worked with a young woman who was 19 and had a kid and was married, which was interesting because I was, of course, 19 and like so far away from being married and having kids that like in my mind, like that was something that I was, it was impossible to be married and have kids at my age. It just seemed crazy that someone could have a child and have my maturity level. But she was like a lot of young moms, super grown up and very mature and very focused on providing the best possible life for her kid. And that was really instructive to me because we never score on this. That's another thing that I need my board of directors to help me out with. But the main thing that I think we need the board of directors to help us out with is, just. Oh yeah. Anyway, we're going to try to get that started, I think. But so the main thing that I learned was that my parents had provided for me opportunities that I had never imagined, and this American idea that I'd been told a lot about and always had just sort of assumed to be unambiguously true, that in America all people have equal opportunity. It became clear to me that summer how profoundly untrue that is, and how different my opportunities were from the opportunities of most people. Because you know, this young woman was working extremely hard, working two jobs, and her husband was working full time as well to provide the best life possible for their baby. Great save by Fat Lucas, and but because they were they were low wage jobs, um, and because of lack of understanding of finance, a lot of times the things that they would do to try to or the steps that they would take to try to set up college funds and stuff, it would just be extremely hard for the ball. Other John Green with a great goal, and then he just gets wrapped around from behind by Bald John Green. That's beautiful stuff. Look, great finish with the right foot. Great stuff. Wonderful to see Barnsley demoralized. And we have an unnecessary slide tackle of celebration, but we learned last time not to do that too often. So, because I just remember them trying to set up college funds and stuff, and which is awesome, but the amount of like the percentage of her income that she would have to put in this college fund was just ridiculous. Ball John Green to other John Green. Put them together in a big hug, please. Oh, they're just rolling around on the ground together in joy. Just that's great to see. That's the Swoodly Poopers swoodly pooping right there. Wow, great goal. Oh wait, that wasn't even wow. I'll tell you what, that wasn't John Green. That was Gordon Taylor Fletcher, and other John Green might have something to say about the nature of that hug there post goal, because that was definitely some swoodly pooping. But whatever, just horsing around. So, did you see that the rain briefly stopped there, by the way, and was frozen in time? It was kind of beautiful. Um, I also learned a lot from the customers I worked with, from the people. I was a really bad waiter, as you'll no doubt. I mean, I can't remember what day of the week it is, so of course I could never remember anyone's order. And generally, I was just really pretty incompetent, which is why they put me on the graveyard shift in the first place. And I gave, whenever possible, I gave tables to my. Oh no! How is he on side? I gave tables to my coworker. Fat Lucas, I may need you. Great job, Fat Lucas. You scared him into pushing it wide. Um, um, partly because I was lazy, but partly because she was, she needed the work a lot more than I did. I was, like essentially trying to pay for a trip to Alaska that turned into a disaster that I think you've already heard about. The story of the toaster oven. But um, anyway, you learn like I remember one time I served a table, and the service wasn't bad. They were just drunk and thought that they were funny, and they left me a tip that was $1 inside of just the fake cheese, but they left it in the fake cheese of the nachos that they'd eaten, or chili mac. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was just like I had to pull this dollar out of fake cheese, and like, what's the point of demoralizing and humiliating someone who's like just working hard at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night? Like, what does that accomplish? And that to be honest, like I was, probably the kind of person who didn't think much about doing something like that. If my friends thought it was funny, I might go along with it. But then when I saw it from the other side, that the people who the people like when you're eating dinner at a restaurant, the people who are working there, they're working and they're real people. And when you make their lives less easy, it sucks, and it's not funny, and it's not cool, and it's not clever to make the lives of strangers more difficult. It's just mean and dumb and cruel. And it definitely changed. It also made me a much more aggressive tipper, because I remember every person in those 4 months who gave me a really great tip. I remember one couple on like steak burgers and shakes and nothing else. So like maybe a $14 bill, left a $10 tip. And I mean, I still think about that couple because they said something really nice to me on the way back. They were like, they said like good luck in school, and it was just clear that they'd like they'd engaged me in conversation, like paid attention to what I was interested in and all that stuff. It's just ball John Green should have passed to Leroy Williamson there, because he at least scores occasionally. I'm sorry to be hard on ball John Green, but this is 3 games with no goals now, and it's not for lack of opportunity. I'm tempted to put Leroy Williamson up front, to be honest with you. I'm really frustrated with with ball John Green's lack of finishing power, because that's traditionally the thing that he's best at. But he is good at passing, and guess who just scored? It's French Lana. Yes, from ball John Green. Maybe I should make ball John Green 100% of the time a setup man, because that was some great setting up right there. Great goal from Lana. Wonderful stuff. Great stuff. Well, that's not a foul. That's just two gentlemen hugging it out. So I also, and maybe I'll tell this story in a different episode of Hank Games. But I also, as it happens, worked with a murderer there. He wasn't a murderer at the time, but he later became one. And that was very instructive as well. You're not going to miss from there, Ball John Green. That was your husband setting you up, and then you hug between the knees. That's great stuff. Your husband set you up because he knew that you were like waiting for a goal. He could have scored there, but he just said, you know what? No. I'm going to pass. I'm going to lay this off. I'm going to let Ball John Green finish it. Great stuff. This is just, this is a really strong performance today from the Swoodley Poopers. And Barnsley are well and truly humbled. And they're reminded that they are playing one of the best teams in the championship. One of the best teams, a team that could, dare I say it, head to the Premier League next season. Anything's possible when you're the Swindon Town Swoodley Poopers. So, oh no. Oh, time stopped, but then it restarted. So that's a relief. I'm going to try to score with Leroy Williamson now. Oh, Leroy Williamson dispossessed. He scores occasionally, but not that much. But I feel like with with Leroy Williamson, Leroy Williamson scores occasionally. Leroy Williamson, he scores occasionally. He doesn't always score. Leroy Williamson scores occasionally. Like just then, Leroy Williamson, he scores occasionally. He doesn't always score, but he does sometimes. Leroy Williamson scores occasionally. Leroy Williamson, he scores occasionally. Yes! Leroy Williamson, beautiful goal. Oh. I don't even care if you score here, Barnsley, because Leroy Williamson scored today, and it is a wonderful day in the history of Swindon Town. Oh, what a great goal from Leroy Williamson. 5-0, Barnsley humiliated, Swoodley Poopers dominant. This is what I like to see. That's what I like to see. And guess who's on the ball? It's Leroy Williamson. Oh, they're not going to let him go down and score. He is, you know what, though? He just scored. I hit the B button and I can sense it. Leroy Williamson with a goal in the 90th minute. Both Ball John Green and other John Green score, as does French Lana and Gordon Taylor Fletcher. Fletcher, nearly half of our outfield players scored in that game. Truly an epic performance from the Swoodley Poopers. And I just so proud of the boys today. Great stuff. See you next time, or hear me next, whatever. Best wishes.